love that sound. I wish I could play piano. Does anybody out there know how to play piano? Teach me how to play piano, darn it. We are back, and you're listening to The Adam Harman Show on Talk Radio, 790 AM KABC. A little Satchmo for you folks. You know, we're here again with the best-selling author, Kurtis Lee Thomas. Kurtis, good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, this guy's so cool. He looks like he should be like doing the Satchmo thing right now, too, you know? He's just got that cool. Hey, I'm going to hit you with a zinger here. Are you ready for a zinger?
Oh, shoot. I'm so ready.
Oh, it's zinger number one.
All right.
Behind door number one is, no. I understand you've had an extraordinary experience witnessing a UFO actually more than once. Can you share some of those experiences with us?
Yeah, so soon as I started to spiritually awaken, I started to have these experiences. I just started seeing things in the sky. And every single time I seen something in the sky, I had a witness, which is really helps. So I'm like, okay, am I seeing that? Is this crazy? But it wasn't enough to still question. To be like, okay, you know, it could have been this.
Was this like a Jehovah's Witness?
It could have been that.
No, I'm sorry.
It could have been this. It could have been that.
But you had a witness for that. That's pretty amazing.
It is, but you know, it wasn't enough for me to be like, okay, I seen something. So I started hearing about these CE5 contact events where groups of people would go into the desert or high vibration areas and had a protocol that would call in ships.
Wow.
And it's called CE5 protocol. So I went to a couple of them, and I didn't see any.
Okay.
And reason being, if you have 300 people, this is what I later found out.
Right.
300 people, and out of those 300 people, there's all scattered energies. So if a good portion, or even a very small portion, like just 2 or 3, are in fear, the ETs won't show up.
Okay.
So I did a small event in Joshua Tree with just 12 people where they did it right. They interviewed each person, and you had to get approved, and it was a 3-day event. And every single one of those days, I had a UFO experience.
Wow.
I mean, undeniable. I mean, like 100 yards from you, twice the size of the moon, glowing, disappearing, flying over 400 yards to the left, reappearing, shooting over 800 yards to the right, reappearing. You're watching this happen before your eyes.
Wow.
And, it might sound trivial. I mean, maybe it doesn't, obviously. But
I'd be standing there yelling, "Say what?"
Seeing lights. All you're doing is really seeing lights, but it completely shatters any glass ceilings that you had in your consciousness.
Right.
Because from one moment to the next, after seeing that, I was a changed person. I knew in that very moment that anything is possible.
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's really interesting. There's this concept of the vibration or frequency of a miracle. The vibration or frequency of a miracle is one in which individuals see things that are beyond their ken, beyond their belief of the three-dimensional world. The sheer vibration of it opens them up to the vastness of the universe and the multiverse itself. Seeing these type events, seeing tears run down a Madonna's eyes in a statue form or bleed blood or seeing an angel from up high. This is that frequency of a miracle. So it sounds like you were indoctrinated within that frequency. What did they look like?
Well, it was lights for the first 2 days. And the third day, believe it or not, I actually had a physical encounter, one that was on the ground.
Whoa.
And this is the first time this has ever happened. And it was so interesting because at this stage in my life, I had just come back from an ayahuasca 12-day retreat, did 7 ceremonies in 12 days. I was vibrating so high. I was on this path like nothing could take me off my path. I stopped listening to rap music. I stopped swearing. I stopped having sex. I mean, anything that I thought was bad, or was taking me off the path, I stopped doing. So I was like a saint for like 3 months straight.
You were clean.
So clean. for 3 months. And at the end of this 3 months is when I went to the CE5, ambassador, and inside of a vortex, and everyone knew that this vortex was super strong.
Right.
And it was the nighttime, and we were having a contact event. And I step into this vortex, and I look about, I'd probably say 30 to 40 feet.
Right.
And I felt the energy in my chest. And then I look over, and then this ET manifests. And it only manifests partial of its body, its head, and its eyes.
Wow.
And I don't know, maybe it didn't fully manifest because I would have been scared, crap.
Yeah.
I was about to swear, but I was like, I don't know. And
you were scared beyond fecal matter.
It was showing me that it was there, and it was and there was an interaction happening. And I could feel it shooting some sort of ray into my chest. I could feel it. It actually almost hurt. It was like a pressure over this pendant I had, a Moldavite pendant over my my heart, and it was pressure to the point where I was like, okay, I know what's happening, I know what's going on, and it started to feel uncomfortable. So I got out of the vortex, and it subsided. It went away. Mm-hmm. Now I get back home, and for some reason I start wearing all these red sneakers I pulled out of the closet for years, red t-shirts. I started eating pizza. I started swearing again. I was like, oh my God, like the devil's got a hold of me. I'm like, I called the shaman, like my shaman when things go haywire. And I said, listen, I need a session. We need to talk. She's like, calm down. What's going on?
Right.
And I tell her, like, I don't know what happened to me, blah, blah, blah. And she immediately goes, they're telling me, because she's connected and talks to her guides, that you had an encounter. And I was like, what? I'm like, yes, I did have an encounter. And I was like, what did they do to me? Fix me now. And,
do you have a Band-Aid for this, please?
Yes. Yeah. And then she was saying, no, it's a good thing. She was saying it was your ancestors.
Oh, my goodness.
And you gave them permission to do this in your soul contract, that if you ever tried to become too spiritual, that they would come back and they would ground you.
So bring me back to red color.
Yeah, and she said, Kurtis, you need to understand that you is actually detaching from your demographic, from your mission.
Right.
And that they want you to know this, that they don't want you to bring earth to heaven. They want you to bring heaven to earth.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was like, oh, wow, like that. And that was so big for me because at that moment I learned to balance.
My goodness.
Life is all about balance, and we're here to be foolish humans.
I am so glad of that one. I do that so well.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect time to ask that question that I ask all of my spiritual leaders that I bring on the show. I asked this of Eric Pearl and many others. Here it goes. Ready?
Shoot.
Here we go. What 3 things can our listeners start doing today, right now, to raise the vibration of the planet?
So, I feel right now that, and I don't mean to sound cliche, actually I'm going to be the opposite.
Okay.
Is meditation and yoga right now, they're mandatory. These energies that are coming in, you need to be doing these. And I know if you're on this journey, you listen to this radio, I know you've been tampering with meditation and yoga, and it's like, you have to make this a practice.
Right.
You have to be able to take these energies that are coming in, to be able to ground these energies that are coming in, and this is mandatory right now. Yeah. And, meditation is different for everybody. You can go on the treadmill and start running, and that is a form of meditation. You can have some sort of ritual in the shower, and that is a form of meditation. So don't think you got to sit there for 45 minutes, and just, erase every thought in your brain. That's not, meditation. There's all different forms.
Right.
But the one thing, let's call those 2 things.
Okay. I'm going to give you 2 points on that.
Yeah. So you
got a third one place to fill out here.
The one I think is the most beneficial right now for the stage that we're in is being brutally honest with yourself. And stop just lying to yourself. Yeah. And calling yourself out, and being more of the observer of your actions, of your thoughts. And that is how you kind of separate from this thing they call the ego.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point, is that when you identify with the ego or the pain body or these reaction emotions, that's when you become it.
Yeah.
And that's the ride that it takes you on. But if you start to become the observer and call out your own crap, you start to distance yourself from that false aspect of yourself.
Yeah.
And being true to yourself and being honest with yourself, I mean, that is the best way to dissolve these lower functioning aspects that no longer serve your highest and greatest good, and call in the higher functioning aspects, which is on taking you to the path to ascension.
That is wonderful. That one gave me a chill up my spine.
Yeah, the truth bumps.
I got truth bumps, folks.
Truth bumps.
You know, it's so interesting. I once heard a motivational speaker, and I listen to motivational speeches every morning. I try to get up with those. And I heard something about human beings not being human beings. They be human becomings. We are a work in progress, and a work in progress is not finished, so therefore it is not perfect. It is in progress. We are part of this process, our process of growth, our process of integration, and our process of ascension. You know, Kurtis, I'd like to thank you so much for being our guest today on The Adam Harman Show. Ladies and gentlemen, Kurtis Lee Thomas.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to have a magical and mystical guest here on The Adam Harman Show.